Well, good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to another night of the YouTube live series with me, your friend and host of the Mono Hermes Marketing Podcast, Pillars of Freedom Podcast, and the Entrepreneur Incubator Challenge. My name is Coach James Aiken. I'm your friend. And because I don't have any questions tonight from the Ask Me Anything videos, I'd love to just share with you a little bit of mindset, something that I'm finding has been a wonderful break from the typical work and grind, and that is really working for. Let me ask you a question. How many of you guys have ever found yourself working so hard that you end up burning out and breaking down? Yeah, I've been there too. How many of you guys enjoy personal development? I know I do. I'm kind of a nut for it. And one of the frameworks I use is this daily Keystone Habit Tracker, and this is for the month of May. And all it is a daily calendar of the things that I find most useful to help me stay on track. And how many of you guys like to stay on track? Yeah, me too. Working for my rest for the month of May really looked like this. The work I was doing was I was really building out this practice of publishing daily. And in this case, it was building the Mono Hermes Marketing Podcast, which has really turned into my personal audio diary as I really build my business. The Pillars of Freedom Podcast ends up being much more business focused exclusively. But as I found really the work I needed to do, I thought I was publishing a podcast, but it was really learning how to be consistent and really how to get my voice out there, being comfortable sharing with people that honestly I don't even know. But again, going back to that question, how many of you ever work so hard that you get to the point of burnout and then break it down? Well, one of the things I found as I got towards the end of the month of May was this enthusiasm to keep going. And I think the temptation is, if I'm getting results, then I should work harder because I'll get better results, right? Well, I followed that temptation, and what I found was that in the month of June, I burned out, and I was miserable. If you listen to the episodes of the Mono Hermes Marketing Podcast, probably, I don't know, episode late 20s, 30s, something like that, I talk about my experience going through that time where I really was learning, okay, what does it look like for me to actually be pushing too hard and pushing too hard on myself? And in one of the episodes, I dive deeper into some of my personal struggles with really fantasizing about suicidal thoughts and the temptation to just end it all. And for me, I know that that is a very unhealthy form of one of my personality traits of the achiever, that feeling of being worthless. And that if I feel worthless, if I don't feel valuable, then there's no point for me being here. And how many of you have ever felt that way? Very lonely, very dark place, right? It took me all through the month of June and starting to get into the month of August to really start getting back in stride and in healthy patterns of work. And one of the things I want to encourage you guys is that when you find yourself getting good results like that, staying consistent, being persistent in what you're doing, if the temptation is to work harder, I would hope that you would include periods of rest, times where you take even a day off, a full day off, doing nothing related to your business, your work, your projects, whatever. Because what I'm finding is that the work I'll do immediately following. And give you a brief example of that. Last night, I get a phone call from my uncle, and he, myself, my dad, we're all big hunters. We have a hunting tradition in our family, and the thing that we love hunting, the animal we love hunting, is elk. And I get a phone call from him last night, and he calls asking myself and my dad if we would be willing to help him pack out an elk that his buddy that night, and if we'd be willing to, show up first thing this morning. And the first thought was, for me, I'm too busy. I'm too busy in my work. I'm in the middle of launching this challenge. I'm building out the ads. I'm doing these business things. And my mind went back to these times of going in through the month of May and then pushing harder, and then going into the month of June and burning out, and then taking all of July and August to recover. Now, mind you, I was still working, but I was never at the capacity that I was performing at before. So my instinctive thought, the temptation was to say no. But having been through a few of those iterations where I know that, okay, if I go too hard, so to speak, I'll start burning out and breaking down, and it'll take even longer to recover and get back in stride. I was so excited to say yes, because I knew that if I took that day of rest to do nothing business related, I'd feel so much better, knowing that I'd made time for me, not just the work I thought I should be doing. And I followed up with that today. It was amazing. Waking up 5 a.m., leaving the house by 6, and then getting up to the spot really before daybreak. It was awesome. Myself, my dad, we met my uncle and his friend, and we spent 2/3 of the day really related to packing out his elk, and it was just so much fun. There was nothing related to business, with the exception of maybe me making a few videos, taking a few photos, which I then shared on my TikTok. But it was one of those things where it's like, I know that I could be doing a lot of work right now. I could be at home. I could be on the computer. I could be talking to you right now. But if I actually said no to the things that would give me rest, I would probably feel guilty. How many of you guys feel guilty, whether you do work and you miss out on those fun things, or you do those fun things and then you feel guilty about not working? I want to encourage you, there's no shame in doing what you believe is right. Because what I'm finding is that what's right for me is what prepares me to take on the day. And if I find myself burning out and breaking down, how am I ever really being able to take on the day? So I took today to have and enjoy that period of rest, getting out with my uncle, my dad, and our friend to help pack out his elk. And it was just so much fun, guys. I'm pretty somber right now because it's been a hard day. You can imagine trying, anywhere from, 35 to 60 pounds on your back, hiking it out, for quite a ways, up and down through, canyons, you could say, and then, over fallen trees and through thick thorn brush. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. And you know what? It didn't end up putting any, prospects in my pipeline. It didn't end up, helping me build any systems in business or anything like that. It worked on me. And I think at the end of the day, that's what matters most. So I just want to encourage each and every one of you to work towards your periods of rest. Being sure to include those, so that way you're prepared to take on the day, and not only work on your business, but work on yourself. It's been your friend, host, Cody of the Hermes Marketing Podcast, Pillars of Freedom Podcast, Entrepreneur Incubator Challenge, and I'm hopefully going to get some good rest tonight, but I will catch you tomorrow for the next iteration of the YouTube Live series. We'll see you tomorrow, friends.